So, Vladimir Putin, Russian president, is pretty mad at what is happening. First, NATO and American president, France president, and the NATO president, all of NATO pretty much, allowed Ukraine to start firing into Russia at Russian military bases because Russia was basically firing from Russia right outside of Ukraine into Ukraine and just firing missiles and just doing it over and over and hitting everything, hitting Ukraine, apartment buildings, everything, right? And they've been doing this for a long time. And this was one of the problems that Ukraine was having. Well, now Ukraine has finally been saying, hey, we can't just keep doing this. We can't just let Russia just keep firing at us over and over and over. Finally, they've given the green light to go and attack these bases and take out these military structures. Already, we're starting to see here Ukraine has struck a Russian S 300, S 400 defense complex in Belgorod using high mobility Army rocket systems known as the HIMARS. Geolocated footage shows two destroyed launchers and a damaged command post. And we now already have Ukraine says it struck a top fighter plane deep inside Russia. Ukraine on Sunday said that this was the first time they hit an ultra modern Russian warplane stationed on an airbase nearly 370 miles from the front line. Because finally, they don't have to try to strike them in the air when they're flying at their full speed. They can actually attack them at their bases when Russia's not expecting it. Kyiv's main military intelligence shared satellite photos it said showed the aftermath of the attack. It confirmed it would mark Ukraine's first known successful strike on a twin engine Su 57 stealth jet, lauded as Moscow's most advanced fighter plane. And while this marks two successful attacks already, since Ukraine has been given the green light to start attacking these bases on Russian territory that Vladimir Putin has long feared and has threatened that if you do this, this could lead to World War III or nuclear war. Remember that Russia has 6,000 nukes. And while he's crazy enough to maybe use one or two of them, because honestly, to Vladimir Putin, what's using one or two of them to him? And honestly, he has some of these smaller nukes that he could use them. And to Vladimir Putin's thinking, the United States has used them in the past. If they've used them, why can't Russia? And by all accounts, not that I'm trying to defend anyone here or anything, but if you actually look back at history, to end World War II, the United States actually saved more lives by using those bombs than actually going and invading Japan. That ground invasion on Japan would have cost more lives to end that war than using those bombs and then getting the surrender. So you guys can let me know your thoughts on that, but that actually saved more lives. The problem here is that we have nuclear war, or we have nuclear warheads, we have nuclear bombs, and it's a sad thing for the world because do we really think that they'll never be used again? Yeah. And now Vladimir Putin has sent Russian warships, potentially armed with nukes, to the Caribbean for drills as tensions rise over Ukraine, U.S. officials say. These are nuclear powered and nuclear capable, and they're right outside the U.S. So the thing is that these things could fire nukes and would literally be at U.S. territory in the blink of an eye, because they're right outside the United States. He could fire these so quickly that would we actually shoot them down in time? This is a good question. Another thing to really question is former President Donald Trump mentioned this previously that we needed to beef up our air defense systems. We helped Israel build the Iron Dome, which is a figurative kind of name for an air defense system, which Israel has in an area that's a very, you know, turmoil place where they can shoot down missiles. The problem with the United States is we have a vast, huge, massive border. Think about the entire East Coast, the entire West Coast, the entire southern border, and the entire northern border. Could we intercept a missile that would be shot on a trajectory anywhere around there? So say if there's a ship coming down from the South Caribbean and was shot that close, could we shoot it down if it was anywhere along that border before it would hit anywhere? That's a good question because it has never actually come into play. We have never actually had to defend something like that. Now, if a missile was shot from Europe, um, you know, I would think we'd have enough time to, get ready there. The other question here is that the Russia-Alaska border, up where Alaska is, they say that this border is very, very small. Very, very small, only a few miles. So this border of Russia, Russia could attack from this area. Do we have defense systems that actually could be capable of defending all of Alaska and also all of Seattle, Washington, and Washington, the West Coast, California, and Hawaii? You guys can let me know your thoughts on this. It's not really been tested. Besides Pearl Harbor, which didn't go so well, obviously our technology back then was rudimentary, but we don't want things to go this way. The problem here is that when we have dictators like Putin, Kim Jong Un from North Korea, and President Xi from China, who literally was supposed to not even be president anymore and just changed the rules and made himself president again. And all like 3,000 or so of the parliamentary people voted for him, every single one. That would be like every single person in Congress voting to elect Biden or Trump again, even though they weren't supposed to be president again for a third term, or every single person in the United States voting for Trump or Biden again, even though they are not supposed to be for a third term. Yeah, this would be like Vladimir Putin becoming president again, even though he's not supposed to be president again. Kind of makes you wonder when you're dealing with dictators what they might do when they're backed into a corner. Kind of like how Vladimir Putin is now with the world against him. So you gotta let me know your thoughts here in the comments. Yeah, so it's a tricky situation here. How the world is kind of against Russia. He has a few allies, but this is why it's a tricky situation. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I will keep you up to date. Thank you for liking and sharing these videos. If you haven't yet, click the subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on new videos. Click here to see my video on how 500 million people were just affected by what just happened. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.